When did I know I wanted to be a teacher? Well, to answer that question, I've got to go back a little bit. I worked as a medical coder at various different settings, various different venues for many years, and I found myself talking a lot with the insurance companies. I talked with Amy over at Blue Cross and Blue Shield, or Patricia over at Aetna, and Cynthia over at MetLife, and after a while, I said, I know exactly what these young ladies do over at the health plan because I am the medical coder on this end of the spectrum, and I know exactly what I need, and I know exactly what they need, and I know what they're going to ask me. So I said, what if I go and work over in the auditing department to review claims and analyze claims and work that end of it, And so I looked into the health plans, and before you knew it, I was working at one. So it was then that I was given room to discover my passion in life. So I was doing really well in terms of getting a lot of, finding a lot of mistakes and errors and things that you come across that don't make or aren't criteria enough to meet medical necessity. And because I was pretty good at that, they asked me at some point, would you mind training Delissa? Would you mind training the newbies, the people that are just now getting hired? And it was a huge department. I want to say it was well over 60 different analysts, auditors, is what we were called. But yet we were still hiring, and it was just growing and growing. And so they asked, would you mind training the new people that come with you? And I thought, well, okay. I mean, they can all just kind of scoot into my cubicle, move their chairs in, and I'll be happy to show them what I do. And so one day I was having dinner with my mother, and she said, well, honey, how are you liking your job? And I said, oh, Mom, I love it. It's, very rewarding, and I do really well with my numbers and stats and so forth. So super happy. And I said, but Mom, I go, when I love my job the most is when they asked me to train the new starts, and I was like, I don't know, it's something about being able to figure out and break down the material, because you never really learn. The best way to learn, of what I discovered, is the best way to learn the material is to teach somebody, and because it's then that you realize the why behind everything. And so so she sits there, and we're having dinner, and she says, well, I could have told you that. And I said, you could have told me what? And she says, I could have told you that what you were meant for in this life was for teaching. And I said, Mom, why didn't you ever tell me that? And so and I don't even know where the conversation went from there, but the thing is, she interrupted me and said, I want to remind you of something. Don't you remember? And it was then that I started to remember, because I hadn't remembered before that. And she said, don't you remember that you took your sisters, because I'm the middle child with all the middle child issues, just kidding. And she said, don't you remember you took your two sisters and you made them come with you? You somehow persuaded them to come with you down to the elementary that you all were attending, and you convinced them to jump into the dumpster, and not the gross kind, not the cafeteria dumpster, but the dumpster over there where the classrooms were. And so what I wanted to get the materials, the crayons and the colors and the highlighters and the construction paper, all the things that had been thrown away and been wasted. I wanted to dig them out and have my sisters help me. And what we did was, as little girls, we just hauled we hauled them all the way from the dumpster back over to our home, and that way we had materials to, play classroom or play teacher. And that was my intention. So I got them back to my home and our home, and we went into the den area where Dad had hung up a green chalkboard, and I sat them down on little chairs, and they were tiny, and my sisters were tiny, and then I'd hop up on a stool, and I would begin to teach them. And the memories came flooding back to me, and it was something surreal. I was like, Mama, oh my God, what an amazing thing it is to find out that I've always wanted to be a teacher since I was very, very little. So that's how, that was, I guess it was always in me to teach, and that was how it's confirmation to me that I'm definitely, doing what I was born to do, what God gave me the talent to do. Because what I've come across so many times is there are so many educators out there and medical coders, and I don't know absolutely everything there is to know about coding, but definitely know a lot. And but what I've come across is, as intelligent as many of the teachers I know or medical coders I know are, just because you have a wealth of knowledge for medical coding doesn't mean you can teach it, is what I'm trying to say. So there are definitely coders out there, teachers out there that may know a guideline more too than I do, but I definitely have it in me, the ability to teach that information and make it reach my students deep inside to where it can be processed and they can now apply those medical coding guidelines. They can read them, interpret them, and apply them to their medical coding scenarios that come up on a day-to-day basis. Okay, so thanks for asking.